Hey YouTube, this is D762 here. Today we're going to be doing the disassembly and reassembly of the Ruger 1022. As you can see here, I have a standard Ruger 1022, the wood grain, have my Bushnell scope mounted on here. I'm going to go ahead and start the disassembly for you guys. First thing I'm going to do is take off my Bushnell scope. So, put that going for you guys. This is going to be my first disassembly and reassembly video for my new YouTube channel. Make sure you guys keep checking back. I will be doing more reviews, shooting at the range, and disassembly, cleaning, reassembly on plenty of different weapons. But I decided to start with the Ruger 1022 for you guys because I know a lot of you users do own these and use them frequently. So I have removed my scope off of my rail. So the first thing we're going to do is take off the barrel band, which is located right here. It's held on by one flathead screw. It's not on there too tight. Give it a couple turns, loosen it up, and it'll just slide right off the end. There you have it. Keep track of all my parts. The next thing we're going to be removing is this screw right here. It is another flathead. When you are removing these screws, you will want to be careful and use the right size screwdriver so you don't scratch your wood. There you have it. Screw is removed, and that is what freed up the stock from the rifle. Here you have your stock for your Ruger. Set that aside. And now you have your Ruger 1022 barrel and bolt. So the first thing you're going to do, oops, the bolt fell out. Okay, so what you're going to do is there's 3 pins, as you can see in the camera. There's one here, located there, located at the bottom, and then a bigger bolt located at the bottom of this. You see? The first one you're going to take out is this pin right here. And all of these pins in the Ruger 1022, you're going to want to hit from the non-bolt side. They're going to eject out towards the pulling handle. So you can use whatever you can find. You can use a screwdriver or pin. I'm going to use a small tap right here that I have. The more you disassemble your Ruger, the pins will fall out easier and easier every time, so it'll be a little less more time-taking and you don't have to pull out as many. I'm going to tap out the back small one first. As you can see, I've done this before, so my bolts come out pretty easily. The big one already fell out. And I just have this last one holding on my trigger mechanism. So I'm just going to do that, and as you can see, the trigger mechanism already moved. So I'm going to go back over here, tap that out, and there you have it, the last pin holding in. Now you have your trigger mechanism taken out. That was pretty simple. I'm not going to go into detail on disassembling the trigger setup this time. I will be having a video after my next shooting to clean this part, but for now I'm just going to set it aside. So now what you have left is your barrel, your bolt, and your pulling hammer. So what you're going to do is when you pull back, you're going to see your bolt, and what it's going to want to do is it's just going to want to lift right out. You just pull with your finger, Bam. That comes right out. There's your Ruger 1022 bolt firing pin right here. And the tension rod, once you release the bolt, will just come out with the spring, the rod, and your pulling hammer. And there you have it. Your disassembled Ruger 1022. Ready for cleaning, modifications, whatever you guys need to do. And my Ruger does have the scope rail mounted on there. So that's that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to reassemble the Ruger 1022. The first part that we're going to put back in is the tension rod with the pulling hammer and everything. And if you can see in the camera, there is a small notched tube in the back of the receiver, and it has a little hole right here. And as you can see, if you can see in the camera, it is pointed, so when you put it in, it'll go right back into that groove and fit perfectly like that. But I'm gonna do it over here so you can see how it is pulled back. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to pull back on the pin and the hammer at the same time. Okay. You gotta put some pressure on that. But if you can see in the video, I have the pulling hammer in the fully cocked back position in that groove. So now you're going to take your bolt this side up and you're going to place it in the receiver, both ends at the same time, so they slip in the groove of the hammer. You have to put it in perfectly. And then once you get that, you're going to want to apply some down pressure. And once you put the down pressure, it'll slide up back into position. As you can see, it is back. Alright, so next, you're going to take the trigger mechanism of your Ruger 1022. Now, if you were cleaning your weapon, you may have messed with this. So, if it's in this position, or if it's in this position, what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to pull your trigger back and pull that back to that position and put it on safety. So it'll look like that when you go to put it back in your gun. And this is pretty simple. What you're gonna want to do is put it in to where the bolts, the holes on the trigger and the holes on the receiver line up, and that's all it takes. You're going to want to put the smaller pin in the back in first, and remember, you're going to want to install the pins the same way that you took them out, so they eject out of the hammer and receiver side. So you're going to want to put them in the same way you pull them out. And then you're going to want to put the smaller pin in the front end. So now your trigger mechanism is back in place. And then you can install the bigger last pin. Now my pin, it is pretty loose from me taking it apart, so just make sure it's centered in your receiver. It does tend to want to fall out sometimes. So now you have that, your reassembled Ruger barrel and receiver back and ready. So the next thing we're going to want to do, you're going to take your Ruger 1022 stock and you're just going to want to slide it right in, line it up with the holes. Alright, here we go. Here's your Ruger back into the stock. You're going to want to make sure that the back of your weapon is lined up evenly with the wood. We're going to go in the same order that we took it apart. So you're going to take this bolt that is inserted right here. Make sure you're not cross-threading or messing it up, and you're going to tighten that until it's pretty snug. You can go a little bit tight on this one, but on the next one you're not going to want to go so tight. Need a smaller screwdriver. So you're going to want to snug that one up. As I said, you're not going to want to go too tight because you don't want to scratch any wood or make any cracks or anything. So just make sure it's nice and snug. The next part you're going to do, take your barrel band, slide it back over your barrel and back over the wood, slide it into place. Now on this one, you're not going to want to go too tight either. Alright YouTube, sorry about that interruption. I had some camera problems. But we were just finishing up the barrel band on it. You're not going to want to tighten them too tight either. So, there you have it, guys. You're reassembled, ready to shoot. Smooth Ruger 1022. Thanks YouTube. Make sure you check back. I will be having lots of shooting videos and reviews and disassembly and reassemblies for you guys. I will try to stay as active as possible. Thank you very much.